Hey guys, it's Feral, and we are here with a live stream. It's been a while since I have done one of these, and of course, right off the bat, half my streaming stuff is not working, so this is going to be an interesting night. We're going to start off with a little bit of a teaser, though, as to what's going to be coming up on my channel in the very near future here.
Hello everyone, this is Feral, and I'm coming to you today from Spumcraft's Nether Hub.
As you can see, I have finally finished doing all the construction work in here. The roof is finally in place.
Is everyone who's on the field here?
Hello Internet, this is Feral, and welcome to Iceblade.
So if anybody has a doubt of how awesome this server is, they just need to see the way we came together today and get this done.
Kind of like the way people got together for the first news report.
So just to be clear, while we're all together, we're blaming Anish for the whole thing, right?
So that's kind of what you have to expect on my channel in the near future. That is 4 fan servers worth of content. So a lot of stuff going on, and actually it's where I've been putting a lot of my time in over on Symmetria lately. But I kind of figured I would back out a little bit and just play around a little bit in Minecraft itself, because I'm kind of thinking about things to build on the next season of Zombiecraft. And I started off, there's actually a little bit of a teaser of what I'm planning to build in that video, because all 4 of those tunnels are based around the 4 servers I'm on. So they all branch off into their own servers, and each world that I'm on is going to have that hub within it. It's going to be part of the build itself. So if you go back and look at the video there carefully, you'll see a little bit of an idea of what I have planned out for Zombiecraft. Anyways, I'm just going to play around here with a world called Chartreuse Armageddon, because I don't really care what the heck happens to it. It's going to be a creative world. We're just going to kind of see what I can come up with and play around for designs. Now, before the stream, we were talking over on the Zombiecraft Discord about what we're going to be doing on the next world, and kind of what's coming up and what's been planned and everything. And by the way, if you guys are watching this and you want to join in on that, you have a couple days left to get your Patreon donation in to join the Undead Horde over on Zombiecraft. That is going to be... You want to be on there. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it's too late. You can join in relatively quickly, because we are starting off with that in, well, Friday, actually. So a few days from now is going to be the first day of our new world. And, you know, if you donate before the end of the month, you'll be able to hopefully get in on some of the action relatively close to the starting point. So I'm just playing around and trying to find a good spot. That's kind of interesting. Have the ravine out there that I could play with. Llama just got killed over there. Stuff's on fire. Relatively flat plane to work with. And let's start thinking about a build palette that I want to work on. This is a little bit of a design idea that I had in mind for actually doing a shopping district, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to come out as I've thought about it. But I'm kind of aiming for, actually that's the worst color to start with, kind of aiming for builds where you can pull them off relatively simply with a lot of your starting game materials. Because when you're just starting out, you don't have a heck of a lot of resources. Everything is in relatively short order. Actually, let's not do that. Let's pull in some spruce. And that was definitely a challenge that I had working over, I mean, you know, some of the stuff I've been working on, for example, the Spumcraft tunnel has Podzol in it, which is great on Spumcraft because I've got 1,000,001 bits of Podzol all around and the Silk Touch to get it. Not so much on Symmetria, so again, I want to try to pick stuff that I know I can build with. Sandstone's a possibility depending on the Shredding Desert. And we'll have cobble. Let's grab some cobble stairs. Quartz probably not so much. Netherrack we not immediately. And we don't want any of the monster eggs. I hate how they do that. Let's just throw monster eggs in there because that makes tons of sense. Anyways, that gets me a little bit of a building palette here. And I think what I want to do, the thing I have in mind would actually work pretty well if we could sort of build off of a mountain, so to speak. I'm picking white concrete powder, or white concrete period, because that is a block that should be in relatively good supply, as long as we can find a, basically a skeleton spawner somewhere nearby. And I'm just going to kind of build myself a little bit of a rough shape here. I want that to go in and back. 3, 4, plenty of room, and 2, 3, 4, 5. That should do pretty good. 2 thick floors. Because if I was going to do this as a actual build for like a community, a place in the community where you could build out rooms and everything, you actually want to have your height difference between your floors 2 blocks, so that way someone on the bottom can customize their ceiling and it's not going to throw off someone's floor on the top, and vice versa. I think that's kind of a lesson we may or may not have learned back on Spumcraft, wow, Season 1 at this point. That was a very old map, now that I think back to it. And the funny thing is you look at the trailer that I put out there, and it's almost like yesterday, really. And just to mirror that look, we don't want that one. Again, this is not going to be something that I would be expecting to put up overnight, especially with this amount of white concrete going up. It's definitely a lot of shredding going on, but it's still something that you could feasibly do. That's kind of the big thing there. We want something that we're not going to have to wait around 1,000,001 days for. Let's also, I mean, if you want to wait around 1,000,001 days, then you get the Nether Hub that I did on Spumcraft Season 2, and that thing was, the amount of stuff that went into that from the sand standpoint and everything else was just, ugh. It took forever to build. Let's see. 1, 2. The other nice thing is, since I'm going to do these walls, maybe I should actually make the opening, the split between levels here 3 blocks. And the reason for that is you can get a little more creative with the lighting that you're putting in your ceiling. And then I can also actually match some symmetry up on the front of the plot here to things that you can do with a 3 thick wall. Because now you can do things like put a, you could put a security gate in it, you could put a recessed door in it. You can do some really creative stuff when you've got 3 blocks wide to play with versus 2. So let's actually go back here. And the way I'm kind of designing this is it's something that you could use for a actual shopping district, which is kind of what I was thinking about when I was thinking of this stream idea, and stuff that could just also be like an apartment block if you wanted to. Wouldn't work out too bad for that for what I have in mind, because it would adapt pretty well. So it's kind of a, it's going to have that modern, modern look and feel to it when it's all said and done. Just because the white concrete block really, as much as I decry the fact that they added the hyper-saturated blocks into the game and messed up color balances across the board, I will begrudgingly admit that the concrete is kind of nice to have. If they'd only messed around with the concrete, I would have been perfectly fine. The fact that they messed around with the wool colors too, that kind of screwed everything over. Okay, so there's our general idea. This is... Again, this is the nice thing because this person down here can put a ceiling in. Times like this, I really, really would like to see Minecraft have the same creative block placement strategy as Space Engineers, because it's a lot easier to do these kinds of one-off builds down in Space Engineers when you need to lay down a row of blocks very simply. Oh yeah, just Control-Shift-Click, drag, and you can drag out a cube, drag out a row, have it locked to any specific orientation. I'm doing a lot of work in that lately as well, and if you guys haven't checked out some of the recent stuff I put on my channel, definitely give that a shot. There's been a lot of stuff going on since I've really kind of started watching Wasted Space, and he's a really good player and designer in the game, and also really, really up there in terms of what he's putting out for kind of like, well, not, I guess it is kind of machinima in a ways, but using the game engine and basically what's called the Group Survival Series with two other YouTubers, Captain Shack and Morphologist. And it's a really great series. If you haven't had a chance to catch Season 1 or Season 2, definitely give that a shot as well. It is definitely a very entertaining and well thought out production. Unfortunately, it's kind of on hiatus because one of the creators wound up moving pretty much across the globe recently, and that's kind of put a little bit of a kibosh on their ability to schedule up. I'm just randomly throwing down some stuff here just to kind of see what it looks like, actually. This is really kind of the bottom level of the area. Because again, creative build or survival build, you're not going to have access to all of your lighting blocks right away. So we can kind of work around that a little bit. But that's really our divider. So the top level could have their own floor set up, and we could even go through and, just for the heck of it, just as a placeholder, let's see if I'm going to design this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Kind of keep reverting to Space Engineer controls. This is not helping. But yeah, I've been also doing some of my own design work over in Space Engineers. Come on. I'm gonna place the hinge. Thank you. And I'm about, maybe about 3/4 of the way through designing my own team of fighters at this point, to kind of compare with what Wasted Space has done with his own custom builds, and you know, just some really creative use of some of the mods that are in the game. Okay, that gives me that, and what I'm thinking is now we need... Really? I did not think about that, did I? Oh, fine. Probably doing this all wrong, and you guys can all laugh at me. I am not used to the console commands anymore. There we go. I know, I could probably just turn off the sun movement, just set it perma-day, but I kind of like the fact that it's going to eventually go back to night, just in case I want to see what this build looks like at night. So I think that's kind of... Actually, I'm really wondering if this is going to work out all that well for a survival build, just because the amount of concrete that that's going to require. I mean, it's not that hard of a block to get because of the aforementioned bone farm. Should be relatively easy to get set up and going. And people are more than likely going to be using that to try to get bows, arrows, and basic, well, XP for that matter. And it's not something a lot of people are necessarily going to be using for the bones right off the bat. So that's kind of why I like the idea of using that as our benchmark, really, for what we have in mind. And this needs to be repositioned. Alrighty. Bring in the spruce. So got a little bit of dark and light contrast going on in that roof. And let's see. Run that down like this. The neat thing about it is I can get a little creative with the front here. And again, what would really be nice would be if we had some quartz stairs, but in my little imaginary world, we don't have that right now because we haven't been to the Nether yet. So what we're going to do is... actually, if this were ZombieCraft, what I would probably be tempted to do would be to start actually thinking about what could I do with a wool farm. Because you could do a rainbow procession of wolves throughout the whole build here. So if we continued this around and kind of wrap it to the terrain, that would be kind of what it might look like. We do need some color, though. Let's look at... yeah, fences. Well, not the acacia fence. Cleo would clearly have my hide if I tried that. And in all honesty, I wouldn't really blame her. And again, I'm thinking of this in terms of ZombieCraft because that's where I'm actually doing the build at the moment. Might be wondering why I am setting this up like that, and there is a method to my madness. Because we're going to go through and try that, and then we'll also try... And again, I'm kind of going for spruce here as my default wood just because you can grow the biggest trees out of it, so you can get a good harvest. I don't know how this will work. And birch primarily because nobody in their right mind wants to use birch anyways. Except for people like Feral who, you know, a little bit of a hint. Symmetria has a lot of birch going on in the build there. But it's looking pretty good right now. I'm actually really anxious to finally be able to show that off to you guys, because I'm doing something I really don't do all that often in my builds, and that is just going completely off the cuff. So that's one of our fronts. We could even... This next one's a little on the iffy side, because iron is not in great supply when you first start off. Alright, yeah, it's going to attach. Do not want, do not want. Actually, I could do a little something along the lines of... Tell you what, if this were going to be kind of... Well, lapis is not in plenty of... The problem with the colors is there's not going to be a lot of sources for dyes for most of this stuff. I wonder if... Oh, yes. That looks actually pretty darn interesting. Can I... No, I'm not going to be able to get it behind the fence is the problem. Can get it under it, but not behind it in that way. But that's still pretty... That's a pretty neat thing. Get a little bit of a color mix-up going there, and it corresponds with the gates in there, so I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I know, Steam Trap. Rainbows would be nice, but it's the problem. If you're going for an early design, the biggest problem with getting all these colors, I mean, yeah, I can get the reds, the yellows, and therefore the orange is pretty good. The white will have pretty decent supply. The blues are going to be questionable because everyone's in need of lapis right away, and it takes a while to build that up. Black becomes a problem very early on because of a shortage of squid if you don't go after them right away, because people spread out, your squid gets spread out, and for the longest time on ZombieCraft, I was not getting any squid at all, even though I had a river completely surrounding the studio lot. The grays, therefore, are also a little harder to get your hands on. Pink's a little more doable because that can come out of red. Green's cactus. Brown, you got to find a jungle first, so it's kind of doable. There's a lot of colors that we can pull off, but not the entire rainbow. But you know, just for the heck of it. All right, let's just make sure I get this right, because otherwise I am going to be red, orange, yellow, green. I think having built a giant rainbow roof on what tower, I would remember all of the rainbow colors here. Roy G. Biv. Blue, indigo, violet. Now, that's the problem I had with the... It's like, where do you set up all of this stuff? So that's pretty darn close. Actually, yeah, that might work out pretty good if... So we'll start there, work our way... That certainly makes it a bit more festive. I don't need to break that one, but... Almost want to throw... another... So if I could make this an even break over here, that would be perfect. Actually, no, I need to... I'm off on my math over here. What did I screw up here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah! Feral math. Feral math kicks in, and now I'm off by 1 block, because whenever I am off, I am always off by 1 block. Never 2, never 3, never 5. It is always 1 block. And it is always after I have some sort of ridiculously complex build completely done. So this is going to wind up being our divider here. Again, this would be so much easier if Minecraft would just adopt the Space Engineer controls. And that's scary, I'm suggesting it because Space Engineer is still occasionally buggy as hell. It's gotten better. I mean, it has definitely gotten better, especially multiplayer. But it still has its quirks and its clang, without a doubt. Let's get this foot back down here. Okay. So this now means I need to have whatever I'm having in between these columns there, which now means that that whole build is off. Trixie. I like the look. The problem is it doesn't lend itself well to... Because that's 6, 6... It's an even number store, actually. Maybe what I need to do is actually chop that down to be an odd number. Just because a lot of people are a lot more comfortable building with odd numbers in Minecraft than they are with evens. And it eliminates the need to try to find another color to put in the way here. Because that's what I was thinking is, could I pad out the rainbow with any additional colors? But that does pretty good justice to it, I think. And like I said, we cut that down. This becomes our foot on that wall. Okay, and then actually... this is really going to push the... kind of the idea here. Again, how much of this is going to be something that we can pull off relatively easy? Everything but the blue. everything with the blue and the purples are actually going to be pretty doable now that I look at that. Because what I can then do is... Come here. And you, and you. Yep. Come on. Placey block. Placey block. And then the question is, from there, what do I have for slab choices that I can get early game here? Yeah, again, I keep going back to the spruce just because spruce and dark oak should be relatively abundant because dark oak gives you a lot of trees per chopping. It's just a question of getting enough saplings to keep a good forest going. Definitely not jungle wood. Definitely not acacia wood because that will definitely look off. We're going to say that we don't have access to anything from the nether, and I want to avoid the stone bricks as much as possible where I can. I could do a stone slab. What I'm thinking is that the top of this is one of the walkways. It does give you kind of a pretty good tiled look to it. And yeah, that's, I think, you know, it's like you said, Steam Trap, the glazed tile, one of the things, the glazed terracotta, I don't really know what Mojang was really thinking was going to happen with that, because they made all of those designed even number based. So the fact that the majority of the game, your designs naturally work out to be an odd number to make them fit with, you know, everything aside from a nether portal, which, you know, even then the nether portals can now be bigger, which, you know, obviously was not the case long ago. It's really kind of confusing me why they did that, and why they also picked a block that is almost impossible to put down correctly on the first go. It's very much a block that, you know, let me put down, no, let me put down, okay, that, no, okay, no, I need to kind of maneuver here and try that, no, 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 okay, oh, I need to go the other direction, oh, my efficiency pick just took out that block, okay, let's try that direction, no, okay, well, if I do this and stand up here and get over here and do that, okay, that worked. And that's me doing that in creative mode, for crying out loud. And even creative mode, you've got to juggle like crazy in order to get those things to come out right. I just really don't understand why that was a thing. But then again, I'm also hard-pressed to understand why there's such a big deal about over the change textures in the next version of Minecraft. Because it looks to me like all they're doing is paying a graphic artist to go into Photoshop and put about a 30 to 40% blur on everything. I'm still trying to figure out how this is such a big deal. Oh my god, we're changing the textures. Yeah, so it looks like now I'm watching the, looking at the world through glasses smeared with Vaseline. I mean, I just don't really, to get that. Yeah, the trees... trees I can work on, and I've had a little bit of luck with them actually over on the Susuminati server with actually putting them in on the floor. They actually look pretty good when you've got a small tunnel, but if you've got a big area, it kind of gets really tedious fast as far as putting those in are concerned. Debating about whether I want to put bars down or fences. Again, trying to keep in mind that there's not a lot in the way of materials. But that's not too bad of an outlay for fences. And frankly, a lot of people, it's something I've noticed a lot over on the Symmetria server, kind of talking about, you know, a world that's recently gone through a restart, is a lot of people are like, oh, we don't have iron, we don't have iron, we don't have iron. And yet somehow I go out mining and I come out of a mine with, you know, 30 hours, well, not 30 hours, 30 minutes, and I've got more than enough iron to satisfy all of my needs. And at one point I even dropped off the better part of 25 stacks of iron blocks to help build one of the iron farms over there. It's like, okay, it didn't take me that long to build up this kind of supply of iron, and since then I've gone back, you know, I burned up quite a lot of my iron doing that, and now I've gone back and regenerated already, and I haven't even needed the iron farm yet. It's kind of like, you guys know that everything is not about sitting in an AFK Fisher for 8 hours to get mending books so you can make lots of diamonds, and then meanwhile the rest of the server's lagged out because everyone's AFK fishing and driving the redstone on it. Anyways, I'm getting that Minecraft bitter vet going on. So that's kind of an interesting look, I think. Kind of maintain the rainbow motif. We've got the white behind it giving a nice amount of contrast. Debating about the back row on the inside here. And the reason why I'm debating this is kind of thinking maybe what we need is to extend the gray or the backing material. What would really be nice would be to... do I want to... Actually, I could do that. If I do... What do we have colors for that I can work with? What's an early game block that we have access to? Furnaces. Hear me out here, guys. Let's do that, and let's grab another banner because I'm about to wreck it. And trick it out to place it. Ooh. Okay, you can see a little of it from the sides, but let's actually go down to a walking perspective here. That kind of looks pretty neat, I think. You get the black border around it from the furnace, and then what I can do is leave that andesite in there. And we can kind of go through and do this. That ties into the floor above. And I'm purposely leaving these columns on the end undone at the moment. Let's just do you. Fine. I'm gonna have to just pick all these up anyways. Yellow, green, blue. Almost tempted to try the light blue as well because it looks a little too dark on there almost. Don't need the brown. Brown is for the bathrooms. And I don't want my build to look like shit. I'm saying that as I'm looking at Spruce sitting out in the open there, of course. So the furnaces are definitely qualify as a very easily available block early game. Great way to get rid of cobble. Okay, guys, what do you think about that? Does that have a little bit of build appeal to this so far? Let me turn off the HUD there. I should really bring in the camera account, actually, to look at this. Deal with that right now. Let's see. So we got the banner colors stretching down. It looks really good when you're viewing it right at this level, actually. Because then you get that outline right around the banner itself. So, the columns. What to do about these guys? Because there needs to be some delineation between... Because, again, we want a 3-wide wall between apartments, between stores, between whatever the heck you want to call it. And what I'm thinking about is, well, I haven't asked the mods if we're going to have fire take off on this new world or not. But I'm honestly thinking about the next easiest thing to get, which is a single bucket of lava. And because of how the game works, we can chuck it in here. Take away a piece there. Build up the back wall so we're not letting anything catch on fire in the stores. And that will give me a nice little lit up column there. I could even go so far as... No, because that's going to flow out that way. Actually, now that I think about this, it's really... The nice thing about glass panes, or glass, is that you can turn it into glass panes and then you really are stretching your bang for the buck here. So we could kind of go with... Again, I'm a little worried about the dye supply. That's the only reason I'm not going gangbusters on this, because the neat thing to do would be to build a rainbow out of this particular setup. But I think what I'm going to settle for is plain glass mixed with the white glass. Ooh, right, because thank you, Minecraft, we really needed two completely different material types joining up like that. Dang it. It's gonna look wonky at... Well... Back on the... I guess you can't really notice it too much. I mean, and it wraps around and connects. It's just that the glass is sticking out is the problem. And if I remember right, they made these stupid things now so you can't do the, Yeah, thanks, Mojang. That was something else we also didn't want done. We still have the sideways trick, because they still won't attach to that, fortunately. But the problem is again, going back to my complaint with Mojang, is we have 20 million blocks, and this is what we've got for stairs, half of which is not going to be available or practical. I mean, it depends. I mean, technically, the red sandstone could be available if I built a sand color switcher, which is actually how we could also get a lot of the concrete dust colors, now that I'm thinking about it. That trick does work on concrete dust. At least I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. Well, I was thinking it was just extending this up through a glass pillar and having the lava flowing through it, because then that gets you some of the lighting. But if I do that, I need to find another way to make that work. And it can't be wool, because wool will just burn right out. Definitely not a shulker box. Maybe light gray concrete powder, actually, now that I think about it. And I say powder specifically because it gives you a nice differentiation. You get that texture color there, essentially. So now we're looking at something that looks a little more wornish, I guess, would be the one way to put it. So then we can go up and let's just see if doing this kind of alternating build works or not. It's a little wonky doing it with the clear and the non-clear, or the clear and the stained. And of course there's going to be... Let's get rid of our happy little banners. Put a happy little banner over there. If you tell anyone about that happy little banner... Yeah, you guys know the quote. Alright, fine. Nope. Never remember. Oh, come on. I hate this command. Time add 24. Can we... Yeah, you didn't do anything for that. Can we keep going? Alright, fine. It's over 9,000. Thank you! Okay. That's better. Hey, Ed, working on... Well, I don't know if it's going to be something that would be sort of like a community build that I could do over on the upcoming new ZombieCraft world. it's not exactly something that would fit on the X server. And it's also... It's definitely not something I could work on over on Symmetry either, so... In fact, for that matter, it's also something I couldn't really work on Spumcraft. I've got so many themes at this point, it's hard to actually find something that necessarily fits all the worlds I'm working on. That was actually the hardest part about building that tunnel that was in the preview for the next... Well, for the next season of Many Worlds, is... It actually required me to design the next, well, basically I had to design Symmetria and the Zombiecraft tunnels in advance. Both of those were built before the server had even come out yet. And actually, the only place they're even fully built out right now is over on the Zasubanati server. They're currently built out there at the moment, and I'm working on trying to get the tunnels in place over on Spumcraft and Symmetria. Symmetria I've got to go back and fix because I put one of the tunnels in the completely wrong spot. But the focus right now is, does this look like... the thought was that this could be kind of like a shopping district, so you could have stores on the upper and the lower levels, and I'm leaving enough room up top here that you could put in stalls and whatnot. So that way, if you didn't want to go through and build a complete... Oh, sure. Now, I've been looking for you guys on 2 servers now for weeks, and now you're only showing up here in the creative world. Random number generator. Darn you. But yeah, this is all going to be for... The idea was to do it as a shopping district, because then, like I said, you got people with stalls out in front here. And I'm kind of also thinking this could work as kind of as a apartment building, really, too. And then up here at this level, you've kind of got the patio. Like, I could do a swimming pool out here. Well, it probably wouldn't have much room underneath for anyone living underneath it. And even then, I imagine they would probably be complaining about frequent leaks down on the lower level. But this is Minecraft. We can ignore reality for a little bit, right? But that's the idea, and I'm just trying to play around with ideas to... one of the other goals with this particular idea is I want to go with something that's going to be relatively easy to get early server. So that rules out a lot of the complicated blocks. It rules out anything from the nether, you know, things like a dispenser. Nope, I'm not counting on anyone having access to tons of redstone and string right off the bat. You know, no rails, pistons are going to be in short supply. I've let myself use a little bit of iron, but very sparingly. And even though it looks, that's white, it's all white concrete powder. So basically, provided you can get your hands on a bone farm early enough, all of that should be doable. All of the dyes except blue should be also relatively obtainable pretty easily. But now that I've got that in there, what I'm kind of looking for is... This end needs a little more detail. Keeping in mind that there's going to be an iron block there and a carpet in those spots. So I need something over here to cap off the fence, but it needs to also look pretty natural. Just for shits and giggles. Ah, that is the other thing I wish they would get rid of. Mojang, do not want. Please make that an option. Turn it off. Do not need. Now, that would only be if I were, like, going to build an African safari store. Actually, it's something... Having one of those inspirational moments. Yeah, this is totally doable. Okay, hello, Mr. Creeper. I see you. Nope, other way around. Hey, Steam Trap, I got an idea for you on the next server. Just a little something to prank a certain member of the server with. Just because, you know, we don't love her enough. Okay, maybe the ears aren't perfectly right, but African moose. You know, it's a zebra, you know, a zebra moose. Just to give her something unique, you know. Anyways, getting back to serious, semi-serious work here. I've kind of said that spruce is going to be in pretty good supply, but also let's think about dark oak. And actually, that's also the reason why I'm lighting with lava instead of actual source blocks. Actually, let's also hit... Okay, so that gives us pretty good ground lighting effect, too. We'll still need quite a bit in terms of lighting inside of the doorway. And the other nice thing about the way I'm building this is up here, once we cover up this top layer here, we will have a pretty mob-proof area. So that will come in quite handy. Let's turn that off because that is ungodly annoying. And yet somehow I keep managing to leave it on. Alright, so we worked with the darker oak there. Okay. And what we can do is... Actually, yeah, let's go back to that. Let's get to you. You because we've tricked it out. And if I put that there, fortunately, fences and iron bars don't meld yet. Waiting for Mojang to mess our lives up with that one. With a goose. Moose and beaver need another Canadian animal. Yeah, Canadian geese, that would certainly work. Actually, yeah, because you could take the, use the seagull that Fiamite's been building all over the place. Or that she likes to build, you know, like the big one over at Spawn right now. And, work with that. That's definitely doable. Attack of the Canadian geese. There's a What News, episode for you there. Let's see if maybe we can... Yeah, kind of like how that actually... That's right, because I could do that. If we do yoink, yoink, have it build that in. Forgot about that little trick. In fact, we could even do that over... Oh, nice. I actually like that better with the doors open down there. Because now you get to see all of the colors, and the way that they line up right on the edge of the furnace blocks there. That definitely has my attention. So let's actually duplicate that over here. Ah, darn you, concrete dust. Okay, and then we just need to... Okay, that works, but now it's kind of meh-ish in here. Needs something to go in that particular little block. Make it like the birds. Oh, jeez. So we have to put a giant phone booth around where Anish last logs out, and make it look like birds have cracked into the window. Then, just to really pull back the full horror. Go away, game. Do not want. Creative mode. Don't care about recipes. Why? Mojang, why? The trick to over here is I'm not going to be able to... I can kind of... Actually... yeah, I need that to keep stuff from burning up. Kind of works. I mean, it's gonna let the light through. Come on. Thank you. It's gonna let the light through. It evens up some of the lighting over here a little bit. Again, kind of get a ground floor perspective here. So I don't want to go hog wild on the white. That's the problem. I know that, yeah, I'm saying skeletons are relatively easy to get hold on. But then I've also keep in mind this is going to eat up a lot of gravel and sand, too. Actually, how does it look from... I mean, the nice thing about this is it's still a dividing wall of sorts, but it's also easy enough to say, oh yeah, I've got an elytra, jump off, and go flying about. And then I'm thinking the same thing on the ground levels up here, so you leave room between both sides. It wouldn't be like my, oh geez, what season was that? The Season 2 Spumcraft Nether Hub, where we had all the multiverse portals, and I basically wound up building a mini mall in there, and you could jump from one side to the other with some fences down and everything. Actually, that's something I'm forgetting is fences. We have or not fences, gates. Fences, gates, hatches, whatever, trapdoors. There's the word I'm looking for. We're going to have wood, so we'll have access to that. Just to break up the white a little more. Or do I want to kind of save that approach for this spot? Like if I did something like that instead. Oh, get back in there. Creative mode undo button. Could really use one, Mojang. Imagine if they actually did have an undo button that you could just undo the last action you took. So now I'm curious. Can I do... grab you. You can get the same... Whoa. Oh yeah, because those things are animated, so... That would actually be kind of neat to do something with that, actually. I can't imagine what. Especially because as you go further down, you're going to kind of see through... Yeah, you see through it a little bit when you get too close. I was just thinking it might have been something I could have done instead of the gates there, but I still like the gates over that. Okay, enough hemming and hawing over that. Let's go through and start thinking about adding stuff up top here. Again, that is decidedly not the final block to be used for roofing, but just there as a place filler. Because eventually, as you start getting a Guardian farm up, then you can start bringing in the sea lanterns, and once you get to the Nether, provided you can keep everyone from going hog wild on grabbing glowstone, you might be able to get some lamps out of it, but my experience has been less than successful in getting glowstone out of a Nether on a multiplayer server after about the third or fourth day of having access to the Nether. I mean, if you look on Symmetria, you're going to see as the episodes go by, it's going to pretty much go from seeing quartz in the Nether to... What's quartz? There's this mystical white substance, which we know not of. There are fantasies and fables that tell of the famed mythical quartz. So we've got a divider there, and we could... Again, keeping in mind that other people on the server need to be a little considerate, so the upper levels... Did I not have... I have not fixed that on this one. I have different... I'm using multi-MC for all my stuff, so all of my controls... All my Minecraft instances are on different... They're all in their own Minecraft instance, which is great, because then... On some worlds where you are allowed to use certain mods, I can use them. In other worlds where you cannot, I just don't have them installed. I don't have to worry about doing things which shouldn't belong, but the problem is it means I basically have to set up a brand new Minecraft for every single thing, every single server I go on. And that gets pretty annoying when you're setting up brand new ones and having to remember to remap your drop item key. Especially with UHCs, because then UHCs tend to be in their own clients as well, just because it makes it a little easier for managing all the 1,000,001 servers that stuff winds up on. Which UHC is this? Which version is this UHC going to be on? Oh, it's 189. Okay, well, I got to do that one. Oh, this is 111. Okay, hang on. Let me spin up my 111 instance. So we could kind of meet that still. And then, just for sand and giggles. Yes, sand. I have plumbed the mysteries of sand. Thank you, game. That's incredibly not so helpful. Because just to give you an idea of some of the stuff you could do is maybe you were a... What you can do is you can kind of say, okay, the store, you get to manipulate, you know, your outer wall here. You get to manipulate everything inside of your happy little box. And then if you have the plot outside, you can, you know, basically I could probably fit 2 plots over here and then just have this all... What I want to do is go back and I'll greeble in some of the other sand textures. You know, like the sandstone, and maybe get a little bit of leveling going on with some sandstone stairs, smooth sandstone, just kind of prettied up a bit. But again, this is a lot of sand to be putting down. It's probably about a little over a stack, honestly, if not more. But good demonstration of what I'm thinking of. So then, kind of default. Now, if you're going for something like a... Just realizing I blocked the path of walking along here, which is what this was supposed to represent. Okay, we'll work with that. Because then what you can do is... You've got that, and we'll say... 1, 2, 3, 4... Okay, so there is... This will be your basic little hut for your shop. Kind of go in and give it some grass. It's about ready to call this grass. Wow, where is my head today? So that gives us a little bit of that, and got rid of those, didn't I? Fence, keyboard, thank you. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we? Oh, nope, no copyright strike. Can't keep going. Do not want. Must not sing. Must not sing. No, none of that now. So we got that, then, as much as it is going to pain me, we'll just because it's very easy to at least protect the wall with some carpet on top to make it anti-mob. This is the least creative tent that I have ever built. But that would be because it is one of the few tents I have ever built. And what you can do is pick your color. Let's say I want to stretch some of that lapis that I've got. And because we don't have much of it over there, it is another suitably bright color. again, 2 colors that we can stretch the supplies on with some more bones. So, once again, very dependent on that. And then what you can do... So we do trap chest, regular chest, regular chest. And this is not going to work if I try that, because those are... Tell you what, I'm going to get a little creative with this one. Because inevitably there will at least be a little bit of strength. Someone will find a mine shaft. And what we can do... Because in all honesty, eventually this would need to be done anyways. But for the time being, I'm okay with just doing those. It textures the canvas a little bit if I do that. So let's also do the blue, light blue carpet. Just kind of see how that looks. Not bad. Let's actually go in and also down the center. That gives it a slightly raised look across the center. It's pretty minimal. I mean, you're not really going to notice if you're looking for it. And we can even go to the point of... We do that, then I can do that. So we gain a little bit of room in there. Always a good thing. Probably didn't need to break those, but maybe I did. Who knows? Survival inventory. And then we can grab that. Yeah, it did. Come back, grab it. Okay, so we've opened up a little bit of room in there, and now we can, thusly, again, because of the problems of needing iron for all those trap chests, that could be something you'd expand later. Before a starter, that's not too bad. And then all we need is... I don't want to put down an ender chest because those are going to be extremely rare to start with on the server. If you're starting out on a server. So what I want to do is probably... So you've got that, and what you can do is put the payment chest over here. So the idea is, when you're doing this, you can say payment here. And maybe you don't have a lot of, let's actually... So you can have something as general as 1 diamond per book, or you can say payment here, and you can say mending rods, 2 diamonds each, because it's an outrageous price. Mending bows. And mending books, your soul. And you could go through and you could do the ones down there too. And then what we can do is just to do a little more texturing in here. Click shift, thank you. And so now we got a little bit of variety going on with our wood colors. Variety is a good thing. Variety is the spice of life. And probably look better if there was a way to... It'd be really nice if you could actually piston a trapdoor into that kind of setup. That would look pretty cool if we could do that. But that is a little bit beyond what the game is capable of, and we don't have any mods. As much as nice as it would be to have Carpenter's Block. So we got that. So from this side, everything looks pretty normal. And we could even go to the point of... Maybe I want to put some... What can we do for decoration out here? There's got to be something that will look pretty good. That's matching up a little too close. I need to offset that. So let's do... Keep those there. Hold there, hold there. Okay. What we can do... And this is a pretty nice thing because not only is this useful for decoration, it's also useful for the build that you're doing. So now we've got a little bit of extra color over there from the bottom. You can't really see what's going on in too great detail from down there, but you know there's something down there. These I see actually extending up into the next level, so these are going to... What I want to do is drag these out like so. Kind of like this. Actually, this is a bad spot to do that. I need to be one block over. It's a little too close to some of the other stuff there. We're gonna go, actually just borrow this one only. Because you come over into here. Work. And then we go back down to here. So I guess this is more of a modern build for me, which is really kind of stretching my legs a little bit. I don't usually build with more of the contemporary modern look to things. Kind of works, and then all we have to do is not jump in the lava that way. It'd be nice if they did the shift click so you could pick up the bucket of lava by clicking on it, but not so much. There we go. Let's kind of build it off like that, and then now we've got... How do we close this off? Up we go. I'm thinking it too. Again, lots of bone going into this. It does make me pause. And this is where I would actually be probably more willing to pull in dark oak wood, just because that and the white is going to contrast really nicely. Problem is it's also going to cause issues with my lava over here. I think we can get away with that. I believe that works. I could be entirely wrong. So that gives us our upper end of that platform. And then it'll be the same thing over on this side. Once I get this actually fitted out properly. Let's see if I built you down to floor level. And your lava, when I place you, is going to drop straight down into there. Nice. Okay. That gets the ball rolling on that. Yeah, left the back end exposed, the right side is covered. Okay, so that gives us a pretty interesting amount of light. Now we need to look at lighting up the top, and for that we are definitely going to have to fall back to our old friend Mr. Torch. So inside of the stalls, can we get away with lighting? Could actually do this. And I can place that on top like so. It'll look a little weird because the torch is burning through that because it's not a flat down, it's at a straight up the bottom torch. Just one thing that kind of annoys me a little bit about Minecraft, but then again, so many things do. Let's put you back in. Because the problem is if you do, I can show you guys what I'm talking about here. That is going to be completely hidden, the smoke and everything. That is not. That drives me batty. Especially when you're trying to hide a light source. Okay, so these areas are no longer spawnable, but that works. Actually, the other thing we can do, just to support everyone, would be... names out of random here. See, you've got room for signs and everything. Basic bare bones setup. You know, a lot of servers when they start off, people will start putting something together. They'll put a couple chests out, and that'll be about it. And then a week or two later, their chests are drained, and there's nothing in them anymore, and they're never going to fill them again. I think that will work. So that leaves us with the difficulty now of managing a lot more in the way of light sources. And this doesn't really improve things too much on this side. We're still 3 light levels there. 3 lights in... Hang on, how is that? How do I have 2 completely identical builds on both ends here? This is a solid bit of light in that area, and that is not. Oh, right, because I have not extended this thing out. Derps! This is the fun part about being on so many different multiplayer servers, is inevitably I am basically exhibiting the behavior of one or more of the hermits at any given time. In that case, I was just channeling Zazuma. Why does this look like? Why doesn't this work right? It's not there, it's not right, it's not right, something wrong. Oh, derp. Oh, yeah, and this is also another thing that is going to cause problems. No, please. No Bernies. Actually, I need to fix that a little more properly. Yep, I know, I just took out your lava. Big whoop. Okay. No, don't. Silly little game. That, and then that. Done. Okay. So the upper level would be paved over with the dark oak slabs, and that's actually where, if anything, I probably would think about not using it elsewhere, if only just to keep from having to mine out too many trees there. But that's looking pretty interesting. Moose aside. Zebra moose. At least on the top level so far. The bottom level still needs some detailing, like everything. And then when you're walking around up here, you're kind of walking around and seeing that and the storefront. Plenty of room to come in here with an elytra if you're looking to land. For that matter, you've got a little bit of obstacle there to be flying around some stuff. But lighting, well, there's going to be... I mean, I kind of hesitate to put limitations on what you can do with the storefront, but we might just have to... If we were doing this for a multiplayer server, that might just actually be a requirement. If only just to be able to do... Really? No, you do not want. Kind of don't want to do this, though, because that looks a little... I mean, it does light up the store. It does quite a bit, but not enough on the edges. So what we would need... Okay, build something... I was thinking about building something down from that, but I don't think that's a... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Counting with Feral, yeah, it's an even gap. Which means it's going to be difficult to put something directly in the middle, but... 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Might be able to do something. Yeah, this might be workable. Again, completely dependent on having some extra stuff here. That's the really nice thing, is the string blends in pretty well with the white there. So I could put a little side table over here. Problem is putting a light for it. Where do I put the lights? So I'm going to go too far out that way. How does that look? We're still a little on the dark side. Because the dark side has cookies. Do that, that eliminates a little more. So the light source is too high. If I place there... That's really kind of the best spot to put the torches. The question is, how do I get the torches elevated just enough without making them part of that? I think might have an idea on that. Yeah, that's not going to work. I was just thinking about doing a trapdoor off of that side to see if that would help. Yeah, X's derps are definitely contagious, but they're, you know, it's one of those things. They're derps, but, you know, they're amusing derps at least. As opposed to the derps where you've got to move an entire another tunnel over by one. Oh, I hope I never have to do that again. That just, that was kind of really annoying to have to do that. I had to do it. There was no way I could leave it like that in the state it was. I'm especially glad I did take care of it, even if it was a pain. What I need is like a tiki torch. That's what I really need. So let's swap out for the spruce fence, because it's a little closer to the torch color at least. Kinda. In a weird way I haven't quite figured out yet. So if there's tiki torches like that, they still don't even get that. But if we do that, and then take that one out. Darn, I kind of like the idea of having this little bit of splash of color there. That's not going to work like that. Especially because if I try to put... Yeah, I gotta take that out completely at that point, for the time being at least. I'll put those back. I just want to actually put some scenery around them too when I do it. Still not enough. If we take you out, now we're even... Oh, geez, we're even more trouble, because over here there's a spawnable spot. So there'll have to be a... Ooh. What does it look like if I... Can I... Minecraft! Come on. Don't get my hopes up like that. Kind of like a weird little lamppost of a thing. Let's try that and see what it looks like. More bone meal for the blocks of doom. Doom, I say. Yeah, the higher up I raise it, the worse this is going to get, actually, is the problem. And I'm going to need 1,000,001 other tiki torches. But let's take that out and put them in anyways, because I like how they look now. So if we're going to do this, I'm going to need another torch probably about here and here in front of those. Then we can stick our torches on that. Will that magically fix all of my problems? No. If I could put the torches directly on this, I bet it would work perfectly. So if I do the old design, yeah, it knocks out like 90% of it. Well, that's just more proof that Carpenter's blocks needs to really be a thing in the actual vanilla game. I'm sorry. Mojang's too busy blurring all of their textures to care about actually putting something useful into the game. Unlike a certain combat update. Yeah, I'm still going on about that. Still bitter. Can do that. Take care of that lighting need. And it's relatively easy to say at that point. Someone's probably going to have lighting on the outside of their store. So you've got that. Maybe the outside of the store is left up where you could change the glass that you put in. So if you want to change the glass up a little bit, you could, but maybe you actually have to leave the pillars here. And that way you've got storefront windows, and that way the lighting is still consistent, because that's one of my big pet peeves, is a lot of people do common areas and then they don't light it up and then can't understand why creepers keep blasting the heck out of it and nobody wants to repair it because, well, nobody wants to repair it. So why not just design the thing right off the bat to be lit up properly? You can do it without needing torch spam. That's even better. Of course, I'm saying that once I get to the ground level, that's almost required. Just to keep stuff from wandering into the design, but... And I chose gray just because that was there as a color. I kind of like the idea of at least putting something in here that had a bit of gray if you want to do, you know, make it match the slabs and everything. But there's also no reason why that couldn't be any other type of block, really. I mean, that could just as easily be any concrete color, for that matter. And let's go ahead and fix the lava. Really fix the lava. There we go. Actually, I don't have anything off of that. It just looks a little better having the block come out like that. But it could actually stand on its own like that too. But for the sake of simplicity and keeping the design looking somewhat interesting, somewhat bit of a clash to it, Let's see, did I turn on... Yes, I did turn on my cinematic camera. Awesome. That's good. So now we can do... Turn that off, UI off. Am I gonna hit my head? Nope. There we go. Cinematic camera, best thing to have if you don't want to pop into replay mod all the time. So we got that, and we've got our upper level. We kind of established this as our grid work. And then this becomes the outer edge of what you can customize in your plot. I have just picked the random depth to the plot here. There is absolutely no reason why you couldn't build a bigger or a smaller plot, because that would be why I picked the hillside, because the hillside you could keep digging through if you wanted a slightly bigger store and kind of disguise it without being too obvious from the front. That way, anyone who needs a slightly bigger area, you're not kind of having to fight over who gets a coveted corner position or anything like that. Because inevitably that sucks. It's like, I've got this great idea, and, well, it doesn't work. Okay, well, now I just gotta kind of not do it, make it work in a certain area. Make everybody happy when you can. Of course, that means the people who want the bigger stores need to make sure that they pick a spot where they can do that building out, and not someone who has got no hill actually behind them. So the idea is basically this would follow the contour of the hill. So I would build the next unit out, and maybe I would think about building, you know, I'd build another one over here, and then maybe start curving it around to take it a little bit on the diagonal. The diagonal is where it's going to get tricky. I think at that point you can't really have stores, because trying to do a diagonal storefront would be pretty difficult, I think. Interesting challenge, but pretty difficult. Diagonal anything in Minecraft is difficult. Well, almost difficult. You can pull it off in some ways. Technically, the Oracle build over on Zombiecraft right now is a diagonal build for the main building. It could look better, though. So we've got this for you. Yeah, I did take that too far out, or too far, That's supposed to end here. Just in case anyone decides, like if the shopping district were to ever loop around on itself and say there's another set of mirror stores built over here at some point, then at least you know someone's store is not going to get interrupted. And for brevity's sake, we're just going to worry about the interior dimensions. So it's going to come right down on top of you. Okay, interior dimension, and interior dimension. So what we wind up with is a pretty decently sized box, I think. It looks like Ed agrees with me there. So, yeah, now we can kind of do store interior here. Plenty of room, and you've got your downstairs neighbor, who the downstairs neighbor is going to be about the same size. So I guess I need to figure out how big this actually is. $14, so we need to come out 14 from here, which is where this is going to come in handy. Interior dimension on the edge of the wall. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, perfect. So then what you get is something like that size on the bottom, which is actually pretty darn good, because then we can go off of this. Beautiful. Don't even have to worry about the lava up here, because this can be nice and safe inside of a wall, assuming Feral can ever manage to build it right. So that lava gets to stay nice and tucked up. Actually, I guess you do have to kind of watch it, because as far as this particular surface goes, you will potentially run in, I don't know, fire spread diagonally through a gap like that. That's the iffy part I'm not 100% sure of. But if it's really that much of a concern, then you can always just close it off right there at that level, and that will be perfectly fine too. Or maybe you make use of it. I don't know. Whatever your tiny little heart desires. So then what we have is... Yep, 1, 2, 3. And of course you got the interior of the store, and because we don't really care about this particular section, there's no one underneath you. Actually, that is a good point. There could be a lower level to the mall, actually. You could build one sort of similar. What I would do would be basically build it like another layer of what we've got here. So store, common area, and that way you've got them about the same size. How I managed to make both these areas the same exact size... I mean, look, that's... Yeah, that is effectively... Because that's the front of the building there, and that's... I managed to almost eyeball those dimensions exactly. Wow. I'm kind of surprised I managed to pull that off. Go me. Okay, so this is... I mean, you guys are kind of getting the point of what it would be like. At least as far as the inside of the store is concerned. So, same sort of thing. Entrance is going to be here. It's going to be... What do I make that? 5 wide? Yep, 5 wide. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3 wide, so up from there. Just a little bit of extra space up there, because we've got 3 over here, so we'll do the same thing on the lower level. 3 across, or 3 wide, 3 tall on the top is what I'm looking for. Yeah, so that kind of gives you room to do neat little things, like if you really want to get down and creative, you could put banners in there very easily enough to advertise your shop. Again, that just being an idea of what you could put in there. And There we go. Just to get a little fancy with what I'm doing there. And third level. What can we do out here for making this look good? Spend forever getting rid of some stuff. World edit would really be nice right about now. Should get something better than world edit, at least for some of the junk that I've got to get rid of. Stupid grass, do not want. Oh, come on, Minecraft, really? Stupid game. Of course, now I have dared to make a water source block. Evil! Evil. Probably at this point would have been quicker to just knock all that grass down by hand. Alright, so now we've got a little bit more of our canvas to work with here. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, and didn't do that on this side. Let's go ahead and just to keep anything evil from happening. I mean, not that the evil would necessarily be bad. It might be justified evil. It could be the kind of evil that keeps a certain Cleo entertained, but no. Let's see what we got. We got upper, lower. The threes on the side. Height looks a little off. That's 4 high. It could be a little off, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So what we probably need to do down here is do something a little more like that. Boom. Back. Actually, you know what? Look, you really want to hang out? There. No chance of explosion, but I don't want to take the chances anyways. Even if they are 0% as far as creepers are involved. So I think this is a pretty good mix of you've got the options for the smaller shops, and then the people who want to do the big fancy shops. Like, I mean, if Jenny over on ZombieCraft wanted to do her armor store again, that would certainly work out pretty good with this kind of build space in here, I think. Thanks, Ed. That is, at least I can punch them like that and not have them blow up in my face. Okay, so that's looking about up to scale. And the front. What do we do with the front? Everything I built up here is on that level. I kind of use the beach because that works. I don't want to use too many of the tiles here. And by tiles, I mean like, well, actually no. You know what? Because there is one thing that is always in abundance early on. And that is... Actually, I don't even need to do that. I need... Let's just try for a weird little floor pattern here. Just to get something to start with. We don't want that, we want... Because we'll do that little repeating pattern, and that doesn't work. And no, it does work. Except not from that angle. So it becomes like that. Yeah, and we can just alternate what we do with that. It's tricky coming up with the patterns that are going to work for this sort of thing. Kind of squiggle that around like that way. Then curl it around like that. I mean, it doesn't really have to be a repeating pattern, so long as we have a pattern. That's kind of what I'm aiming for here. Just enough to mix up the colors a little bit. Let's see, so from there we did that. Got something like that. Get rid of that little piece. And we need a little more granite on the corner there to touch it off. And I just need to build it out over here. But what I want to do for these guys is break cardinal rule number 1 on ZombieCraft. Ooh, yeah, actually I need to do this the other way around because I don't want the orange showing up here. And if anything, I also need to do that. Okay. Now I can actually get away with this. Nope, not like that though. Bring back a little technique I used back on Season 1 of ZombieCraft. Kind of got a nice little pattern between there. We've got the floor there. And so we're coming out. Oh, script pattern over here. Spotted that one out of the corner of my eye. I spy with my little eye. A mistake! A mistake! It's a mistake! Let's do that. And this is a quick way to give myself motion sickness. Okay, that's looking pretty interesting for a ground pattern. Break up the well, it's not really monotonous, the tiling there. It's just random enough, but not random, so it's got good color spread on it. It looks like a floor, I mean, let's be honest. And the next thing I need to do is find something. Not the monster. Why do they even make the monster eggs the first thing that comes up in Minecraft? Why did they give that a block ID that is one lower than the normal moss, you know, the normal stone brick block IDs? I have to wonder how many people at this point in this game have now managed to trip themselves up because of that. Of course, lighting this section is going to be a little on the tough side, because it's not really going to look like... I can't really rely on my tiki torch method. Oh, back to you, and... Okay, let's also... We're going to do... How do I want to do this? Well, if I do the... Again, it comes down to how much lapis does a server necessarily have. I'm kind of thinking of here. The light blue will at least let us extend that usage a little bit. Since we're going to cut it with the bone meal, essentially. Because back when I was growing up, every mall had fountains in them. And none of the malls I go to anymore have the fountains anymore. You don't have anywhere that you can foolishly throw away your money in the hopes of getting a wish granted. So let's bring some of that back. That looks pretty good. I think it looks really good, actually. That actually legitimately does look like an indoor fountain, almost. Well, it's actually clean, but an indoor fountain. And to boot, let's do... Raise the edge just a little bit, just because that will make it so much more annoying to get in and out of if you happen to fall in there. Gotta be a little evil. And we need to figure out what we're going to put in the fountain proper. Kind of following that same thought. Yeah, lab work. I haven't had enough yellows in here yet. And pink seems like a nice, good color to throw in. Now I'm just kind of being ridiculous here. Yeah, it kind of blends in okay. Needs something more. This might be one of the few cases where I would say because that's going to break these guys up. So I think it does. It should. Come here. Yep, okay, good. So those are staying separate. But not really noticeable. Oh, sure, guys. Just, you know, make yourselves at home. Oh, I didn't realize I still had that particular setup there. Oh, fix the tiki torch. I have no idea if this is going to even work, to be honest with you guys. Come on, get me into here. You can kind of see the color contrast there just a little bit. But not really, yeah. It was a thought. Fountains are not something I have ever designed before, so invariably I am really going off of the cuff there. A little worried this might blend in a bit too much with the lining wall on the outside here. Especially because now it's pretty close to it. But I'll give it a shot. So I've got that, and now this piece doesn't sit right. Yep. Come on, game. There we go. Let's try cutting away the corners there. That might look a bit better. That's interesting. The block mix is on the weird side. What about you? You got any ideas on this? I mean, is this something that, you know, do you like that? Do you not? You know, is it too plain, too pedestrian? Do you have any opinions at all here, sir? Okay, fine. Have a nice day. You would think I would have learned by now that talking to the mobs never works. You never get a good answer out of them. Let's do... no... Ooh, actually... could be interesting. I said I wanted to avoid it being too close to, but what if I intentionally go closer? Especially because then that lets you do something like try to play games of King of the Fountain. But now comes the question of lighting, and I think the easiest way to do that is to duplicate what they used to do in those malls and put the ridiculously ugly looking lights underneath everything. Yeah, the kind that were basically just million-watt fluorescents. So this is going to be tricky to put in here because I did not put this in before putting the water down. you... Actually, no, I can really do this proper now. I have the room for it. Didn't think about going off to the side, did I? That's what they'd expect me to do. Just in the nick of time. Because they used to have those ugly yellow lights at the bottom of these things. And they always looked like the kind of thing that if you happen to be like a, kind of like at a hotel pool and you'd go into those things and it'd just be 1,000,001 degrees if you got too close to the lights. Same difference. Seal you up. And... okay, how are we looking for lighting now? Not that anything's going to spawn, but it's gotten a little bit brighter in here now. I can live with that. And we said second block up. That's where the outside lights go for that. So, now we're at the point where I need to figure out how to get some lighting in here. Also, something I'm thinking of just now, do I want to continue this pattern over? Like, completely over. So that this spans this entire section like that. And over to a mirrored side, if we wanted to do it, or the outer wall of the mall for that matter. I could actually see this having a wall out on 5, 6... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the wall would go here. Yep. About in the center. So this would be like a wall that's going to just be a giant window, really. That's where I'm kind of questioning whether I'd have enough resources to pull that sort of thing off. But it wouldn't take too much to just make this a giant picture window wall, essentially. So then this could be looking out towards your spawn town, or, you know, kind of the rest of your build, or the spawn area itself. Just 'cause I like the idea of being able to, you know, instead of just closing everything into a building, actually keep it open and make it so it can actually look at something. Give it a view to have a reason to have windows there. I mean, it's kind of like the Zombiecraft shopping district right now. The big open area with the hand is really cool because it is an open area. It's something where you can look up and you can see the builds that have clustered around it. You can see the hand and everything. You can go to several different areas and you've got, you know, great views out of all of it, which really makes that, in my mind, a pretty good shopping district. So I could do the same sort of thing. I could build up around, you know, a little bit of a rounded bit off of this, or I could come up with something totally different for this section. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a beam like this. We could still have, you know, it's not a straight down shot. We could easily put something like this in. So now it's got a little more structure to it. And I'm thinking, if you really have the resources at that point, then this definitely becomes blue glass is the word I'm looking for, not grass. Doing another Xism there. Wow. Getting back to the main problem, lighting over here. The reason why I was thinking about this was I was thinking, could I extend something out from this level across and establish lighting on that? And I don't think it's really going to work. Before I drive myself insane, let's get the torches where I expect to have them. I'm so used to putting them on my 3 button. Just for the heck of it, make sure I don't spawn anything up in here, because Because those mobs gonna make me lose my cool up in here, up in here. Not gonna make me lose my mind. No copyright infringement, no copyright infringement. Alright, that takes care of... Oh, actually, this is even worse, because now this is a natural mob spawner in here. So, if I were doing this, I'd be so tempted to put you somewhere and make this a perfume store that's a potion store. All of your favorite bottled essences. Here's a person who will happily let you try on any of them. You may want to have some potions of healing first, though. Hey, no loitering. Okay, that'll do for now. So, outside is what I've got to worry about, and in here. In any other circumstance, I would be absolutely saying, without a doubt, sea lanterns or glowstone. I mean, for that matter, going back all the way to Spumcraft Season 1, redstone lamps in the floor would work pretty well here. But primarily down only around here, where you can kind of surround them with the lighting that's going on here. In fact, what we're going to do is carry that pattern along. Yep, I got that mixed up. Carry the pattern along correctly, shall we? Let's get rid of that, because it's the one downside of playing Minecraft on a 4K monitor is that particular mob, the more lighting mod, or more overlays mod, really doesn't look good when you scale it to 4K, even if you increase the line thickness on it. It just drives me nuts when I have it on for too long now. So yeah, that would continue over to that wall there, and how does this help us with lighting? Again, do we have the resources for this? If we do... I don't know how well this is going to look, because it's going to be unbalanced. Old version of Minecraft, this would have been okay. And we still can't do that. Oh, Yang, could you add that to the game instead of these ridiculous blurred out textures, please? That'd be really cool. Chandeliers are out, because I don't have anything that's going to be down in this area. And I really kind of see this actually being an open sky setup here. I don't really see this being big on spreading out much. Having a roof over this. Over the store, certainly. That would definitely have a roof on it. But over in this open area, I really don't see the need for a roof. Especially because then that does encourage your fly-ins and fly-outs. And we could still keep the glass here because it's going to be useful at keeping the mobs out, but it's not like we have a mob that can drop in from above aside from, you know, a wither. Something that's going to light this up. And it's got to look decent. Where do I need... Well, where can I get away with the least amount of lighting? Do one there and one there. And again, this is not going to work if I bring it up a level. So we have one there, and then as soon as I repeat this design... do one there, one there, one there, one there, yada, 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 yada. And that's how the crack got in the Liberty Bell. Ooh, actually, yeah, we can even get away with a single torch there. Possibly. Again, torch elevation could be... Maybe I can build something off of the fountain itself. Because that's... yeah, it'd have to be down at this level. To have a block on it. How does that look? Yeah, too tall. So even if I carry this over to here... that might be the caveat where I actually have to go through and say, yes, this would be something, it would be torches until we have another hub type situation. Because this just doesn't work in that block. Okay, let's try that one. Let's fix the mess we've made. That doesn't look right. Give me redstone torch and lamp. Nope. Yep, that looks much better on the wood. This might look a little better. Yep, we're going old school on this. Redstone you can also get plenty of early game anyways. It's the glowstone that's the weak part. So that looks pretty darn good, I think. Not bad for a starting effort. Just something thrown together with no real clear idea other than I want to build a building that's got multiple levels to it in a modern design, which, as I've said before, I really haven't ever done before in Minecraft. It's something that I've always kind of... it's kind of like the opposite of trying to build a building on natural materials and have the distribution of stuff like out here and just not have it look right. You know, like mixing up your various types of stone bricks. But I think that looks pretty good. If you guys have any specific opinions to this so far, I think this is pretty good, even just for a basic concept. So you've got that, and then down here, I almost forgot. We could even go to the extent of... might mess about with the lighting if I do this. I just thought we kind of need to do a kiosk, but different style, because now we're down at the lower level. And if you've kind of seen them in the malls, they're usually diagonal jobs. At least up here in Maine they are, and granted this is Maine, so it's not like it's the haute couture of mall fashion and etiquette. We do... so we can do that. That keeps the light available. And then... because usually what these guys are, the little, I mean, let's be honest. That's usually what sits in half of these little kiosks anyways. So then you can do a slightly more complicated setup. So do our spruce wood. Can we have the one I asked for? If you please. Can take that old lovely chestnut, which admittedly I would not want to do too many of these, and oh, let's see, am I doing this the right way? Probably not. Probably supposed to do this a different way. Yeah, I'm supposed to be able to see the back of it. That's probably not going to work. Oh, it does. Okay. That's awesome. I wasn't expecting that to work. Windows. There we go. Close enough. It's a really cruddy looking computer, but at least you get the idea you're paying there. So that's a nice little tiny limited style kiosk. And we could... spruce wood. Just to mix up the colors a bit. Oh, that's not what I want. It's not what I want. You know it, game. You just don't want to admit it yet. So kind of got a little overhead display. We can still open the chest with that. Or not overhead. A little bit of a roof to the kiosk type thing. Because they all inevitably have little tiny roofs on top of them, even though they're indoors. So a little bit of the kiosk there. We've got two bigger stores. So this kind of setup could easily support, if you're tiling this, you've got three little mini stores. Well, one mini store, one modest store, and then two big stores. So I think it's a pretty good mismatch or mashup of stuff. And again, keeping the roof open so it's all open to electroflights in when they eventually come down to having elytras. And then we've got the outer wall here, so you can mirror over this floor design on this side. Have a nice little glass wall here, so you can see your lovely non-existent spawn town outside. And then each end, you could even cap this off, like I said, because you can make this all modular. So if you've got to add more, you know, just add more, turn it around. What? Okay, that was bizarre, because those two were standing so close together, I thought he was carrying a bow somehow. Villagers can't carry bows like that. Alright guys, so that's a little over 2 hours worth of streaming there. I think I'm going to go ahead and call that one for now. Just kind of wanted to do a little bit of Minecrafting since I haven't been doing much lately. I've been kind of absorbed in Space Engineers, and it kind of felt nice to be able to have a little bit of time where I'm not trying to grind stuff like I have been on Symmetria, and I'm going to have to do on ZombieCraft when that restarts on Friday. And then of course Spuncraft I haven't really been able to do much on either, and that's kind of in the same boat too. There's a lot of grinding for materials that I have to do to finish up all the other tunnels now over there. That's not too bad. That's a mostly finished concept, and I think that holds up pretty nicely. I think it would be interesting to see that done. I didn't really greeble the sand up top, but you know what? I think there's enough. It's busy enough along here that you're not really going to notice it anyways. I mean, most of the sand is going to be covered up except for this section from the store and everything. And this could even be swapped out for a completely different material. That was really more just to demonstrate the idea of, well, if you've got, you know, this much space between this and the store below you, that you can have a lot better, you know, you can do stuff like this on the top. You don't have to worry about the store underneath ripping out all of the stuff you put on the top when they move in. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go call that an episode there, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you guys. See you, Ed. See you, Steam Trap. See everyone who is watching, and have a good day.